what they were waiting for. I think they were putting some things ready. They got me out. I was still handcuffed and blindfolded, and they told me to strip naked. And I stripped naked. When I stripped naked, they removed my handcuffs, and then I was grabbed by about 4 men, and they lifted me up so fast. Before they lifted me, actually, they put some gloves on my hands. Then they lifted me up. They lifted me up and tied me upside down. There's a photo I saw online about what they did to us. It's in my bag. We can distribute when I'm done talking. So we were put on upside position where my legs were up like this. My body's up. I'm stuck naked. And then they started beating my feet. So they would beat me and massage my feet. Beat me and massage my feet. I was screaming so hard, I couldn't even, there was no tears coming out because of how painful it was. And one of them said, put his hand in his mouth. So they put my hand in my mouth, and they would tell me, stop screaming, the kids are sleeping. And then to drown my screams, they opened the car, because I could hear them, they were playing gospel music in the background. They beat me. Then they removed the underwear from my mouth, and they started questioning me, asking my name, where are you from, why are you here, who sent you, why are you coming to destabilize our country? And then they said, weka moto. So some guy put lubricant in my rectum, in my anus, and then started inserting objects. They would insert objects and pull it out. Dude, it's okay.
This assault was ordered by the President of Tanzania, Suluhu, Samia Suluhu. She's worse than Idi Amin. Worse than Idi Amin. So the backstory of this is they had gone to see a public hearing. People from the West, people from anywhere part of Africa, anywhere around the world, they can go and listen to a public hearing. And that's how they were kidnapped. Kidnapped by the government of Tanzania. So they did all this and they took videos. I don't know what she wants to do with the video. Ask her. Huh? Why she wants to get off on videos of people being tortured and sodomized. I don't know why Suluhu wants those videos, but she has them. Apparently, she ordered for this. They're torturing them, and in proximity, they have children there. That's how depraved these people are. They have kids there. Yani, there's no rule of law. If they really had done a crime of destabilizing the country, simple, there's due process, right? Wangewachukua, they could have taken them to court, they could have charged them with something, there could have been due process, but not this uncivilized government of Suluhushu, whatever the heck her name is. They don't do that. They're uncivilized. They don't know what the rule of law is in Tanzania. It's so sad that she is the first East African woman president. Now this is how she has chosen to represent us, by ordering sodomy to East African citizens who are clearly innocent. That's the president of Tanzania for you. What pains me is that Boniface Mwangi He's an upstanding citizen. He has a family, he has children, he's a father. He's just doing his job as an activist. Kila mtu ana kazi yake. Just doing your job is so heartbreaking. Suluhu, you have what woman orders this? What woman orders this abomination on a nation? We were looking for a woman president. The way when we had the first East African woman president, we were happy that we can start showing the world that we are forward thinking, we can have a woman president. But we never thought in our wildest dreams that you, Suluhu, Samia Suluhu, kazi yako is ordering sodomy for East Africans and asking for videos. Aish.
They would put objects in my anus and then say you're feeling nice, say you're feeling good. Then they say Asante Samia, Asante Samia. So I say Asante to their president.
Asante Samia. Oh God, I feel like puking. I've sijawahi sikia kupuke. Asante Samia. This is what you want to jack off on. Yani, she wants to hear this. She wants this on video. She wants people to hear this. Yani, atumiwe video of people wakitochariwa saying Asante Samia. What kind of devilish mind is that? Nani hupenda kazi kama hiyo? Okay, even the devil himself. Even the devil. Even the devil. Hi. Okay. Hi everyone, welcome to Post-Traumatic Bliss. This is Monica Kanini. My channel, I started this channel finding joy after the storm. And so I feel the need to talk about this because, trauma comes in many ways. There are so many few things that can traumatize you as an adult. And sexual abuse is one of the things that can traumatize you as an adult. Few things can traumatize you. War can traumatize you as an adult. That's why you see a lot of soldiers and people who've been to war-torn countries getting a lot of trauma. And also, people who have gone through violence. And sexual trauma is one of those big things. Now, when we as citizens, we want to live in a country full of peace. We hope that one day Africa will unite and we can become one continent, because that's the only way we are going to defeat the West, the rise of Africa as one united continent. That's why we need people like BONIFACE, Mwangi to go around watching and telling us what's going on around the continent, whether human rights are being respected. And for a government to attack the very people that are supposed to be the eyes and ears of East Africans and create a situation where they despise us. They just despise you just because you have dark skin, just because you're black, just because you're African. This regime in Tanzania will despise you for that, for just being African. Because when you see a government like that torturing East Africans, trying to take away their dignity, the essence of who they are, trying to break us down, what they are wanting to do is, in their mind, they are done with us. They are done with us. Now they just want to partner with the West, all the Arabs, and just exploit everything in Africa, because for her, she's okay. She has the money that she needs. But after that is pure exploitation of the African. That's why she doesn't uphold the dignity of an African woman. She doesn't want to uphold the dignity of an African man. It's simple as that. It's just simple as that. East Africans, we are electing, tunachagua viongozi wanatudharau, kutudharau. Now somebody has to heal from all this trauma.
Then they push hard and then it out again. They did that. See, I started bleeding. And they dropped me. Then I'm still blindfolded. They took me to a wall. And then told me to face the wall and then squat. Then a man came and was putting his fingers in my anus and then saying that, say you're feeling nice, say you're feeling good, say Asante Samia. Then they would do that. And then they would do that. And then they told me to turn around. I'm naked. So all this time they're telling me they're recording everything they're doing to us, or rather they're doing to me. So they're recording this. They're teaching me a lesson. So I'm stuck naked. They turn me around, say your name, your wife's name, your kid's name, where do you live, where do they go to school. I'm naked. And they removed the blindfold and said, now, so when I'm answering these questions, when I turn around, when I'm answering these questions, they are just threatening me. So like when they're abusing me, they're saying they should feel good and say thank their president for doing that to me, like sema asante sana, asante sana.
If wanasema that they're taking videos and they're saying sema asante sana president, asante sana president, is because they are going to send her those videos. They're going to send those videos to Suluhu. And she wants to see this video. That's how disturbing this is. Yani, this woman is depraved. More depraved than Hitler, Idi Amin. That's how depraved this woman is. Mimi nahurumia wa Tanzania. I feel sorry for you. I pity you guys. Because we Kenyans have been through such leadership under Moi. When he would take political prisoners, anachukua hata kucha zao anangoa. Our parents and their parents endured that for years. For years. That's why Kenyans are not compromising about their freedom of speech being taken away from them, about their freedoms of life, about all these freedoms. That's why we hold them dear. But Tanzania has just begun its phase. That phase, that's Tanzanians have just begun that phase. By the time they are done with you, you're going to be traumatized. You are going to be poor, worse than you are right now. By the time such a regime is done with you, you'll be traumatized. You will be traumatized. Lengo letu for Africa to be united so that we can fight oppression and unfair trade by Europeans. With these kinds of things happening, being ordered by a president, it just pushes us farther and farther and farther and farther away from that goal. You know what that means? Gen Z, they've suffered the brunt of what's going on in Africa. Millennials, we suffered that brunt of everything that's going on. Gen X, I think they had it worse. Now, we are leaving this trauma to be passed down to Generation Alpha. Because there's no solution in sight. There's no solution in sight. Now, there will not be a solution in sight if you keep electing governments wenye wanatudharau. Wanatudharau. Kabisa. Kabisa wanatudharau. They don't even like dark-skinned people in Tanzania. Almost every woman in Tanzania is bleaching her skin. Usiwaone ati they are brown, ati they were born brown. They despise their dark skins. They bleach. I would not be surprised such a government is stealing resources from Africa and selling them to Europeans and Arabs, because kama wanawadharau, they have no use for you. And it's clear, if you can order East Africans to be sodomized as a president, na uitishe hata video wakikuambia Asante Samia, it's just sad, depressing. Mimi, I don't even know. I don't even know how people begin to heal. And I am a mental health coach. How people begin to heal from a regime like this. Because they are creating this environment. And as a mental health coach, ebu nikuambie ukweli. Let me tell you the truth. Your environment determines your mental health. Environment yako is so important because it's feeding your mental health. It's feeding what you listen to, what you hear, what you can say, what you cannot say. It's feeding all this. And if your environment can order for goons to come and sexually assault you, I mean, that is short of killing you.
So they told me we have recorded these videos so that if you go back to your country and you say what you did to you, we shall put them online and shame you, and your kids will see this, your family will see this, everyone will see this.
Your kids will see this. The level of intimidation. You know what I like about BONIFACE? Mwangi. What I really admire about this man. He decided there will not be a covenant between me and you, Suluhu, where you torture me and I stay silent for you, bitch. He stood up for himself. Ati you torture me, you order for me to be sodomized, ati I keep quiet for you. You, wewe. He said no. He said no. Now we know what kind of a woman you are. A wicked one. Wicked. Wicked. Hizo video. Unataka kudunazo nini? Mimi, I was thinking the other day when ninaona Kenyans wakitroll Suluhu, when, you know, she's looking like a pig wearing high heels, I was like, okay, maybe they are just overdoing this. This is too much. Kumbe, this is not too much. Kumbe, Kenyans exactly knew why they were trolling her. She's an evil person. She's evil. This woman is evil. Na naomba hadi video zichukuliwe wakimwambia Asante Suluhu. I'm sure akiwatch hizo videos anasema, hey, they see how powerful I am now. No, we see weakness, we see a coward. Huwezi peleka watu under the due process like a civilized woman, like a civilized president. You have to order goons to go and torture and rape people, and they send you videos. Una kasoro wewe mwanamke. Una kasoro mahali.
So while I was naked, they questioned me, asked me my email address, my passwords, everything. And because I was in so much pain and I was afraid they're going to hurt me some more, I gave them everything they wanted. Then they told me to dress up. And that's when they took over to go and torture Agatha. They put back the blindfold, told me to dress up. I dressed up, put back the blindfold, and then left me on the ground. So we spent the night on that floor. I could barely walk. I was bleeding. And then I could hear Agatha screaming. And one of the men was there saying, why don't you give me permission to rape her? Because this one is like big good. She looks very nice. Let me just allow me to shusha muzigo, like let me rape her. So I don't know what happened to Agatha, but I could just hear her screaming. The following morning, on Tuesday morning, they came and they told us to remove our clothes and to go shower. So my feet were swollen. I could not walk. So I begged them to allow me to crawl like a dog so that I could go to the bathroom. I crawled like a dog to where the bathroom was. That's when they removed my handcuffs. So when I was stripped naked, I still had the handcuffs. That's when they removed the handcuffs and told me to take a shower. I was still bleeding, my stool had blood. And there's a man with an AK-47 standing there, like wearing civilian clothes. After that, they gave me fresh change of clothes. They were just insulting me and took me to another white Land Cruiser, still blindfolded, and they took me away. And that's the last time I saw Agatha until now, when she came to Kenya. So that was on Tuesday morning. And then we drove and we drove and we drove and we drove for hours and hours until it got dark. I told them I wanted to use the bathroom. They said you can't leave the car. So they gave me a bottle to pee. I was still blindfolded and handcuffed. Then eventually at night, I don't know where we ended up to, they took me to a room where they left me there. They gave me like a soda and a loaf of bread. That was on Tuesday night. So I slept there. I could hear, it was like a coastal place because I could hear the call for prayers, and there was like a warmth and a lot of mosquitoes. Spend the night there. They just come, insult me or kick me and go. Come, insult me, kick me and go. And then on Wednesday morning, they gave me they gave me a cup of tea and an andazi. Then that Wednesday during the afternoon, their tone changed. They said, now we're going to let you go, but we're going to let you go with a very onyokali, which means like a stern warning, that if you leave this country, you should never come back or we'll kill you. If you go to your country and say what we did to you, we'll find you and we'll kill you. And you should never come back. So they said, do you want to eat? I said, I don't want food. I didn't have an appetite. The other thing is that because every time I wanted to go to the bathroom, they'd actually go there and stand by me like they're inspecting my stool. So I didn't have any privacy. And the only time the handcuff came up is when I went to the bathroom. But the blindfold never came out. So that afternoon, they gave me a painkiller. Then on Wednesday evening, they told me, now you have to learn how to walk, because I could barely walk. So they told me to remove. I was wearing open shoes. Remove open shoes. Took me outside. 4 officers surrounded me. They're all in civilian clothes. They stood there. Removed the blindfold. Said, now you have to walk, and make sure you try and step your feet on the ground. Step your feet. Said, we're gonna let you go, but don't ever come back in this country. So they taught me how to try and walk. They made me walk for like half an hour. I said, that's enough. And then the following morning, on Thursday morning, they woke me up so early, maybe around 4:35 a.m. They put my things in the car, put me in the car, and then drove for like an hour, stopped briefly, and then when they stopped briefly, They spoke outside, then drove again, then stopped again, then told me, you're going to drop whatever you're going to drop. You don't open your eyes, don't turn back, don't look at us until we leave. So they told me, Lala Chini. They kicked me out, slept there on the floor, on the side of the road. And then when I opened my eyes, there was a Boda Boda guy waiting for me. I think they'd already done a deal with the Boda Boda guy. That Boda Boda guy drove me to the border, which land was the Horo border, the Tanzania-Kenya border. When they released me, they gave me 20,000 Tanzanian shillings and 400 Kenya shillings. This is that's your transport. And so at the border, I got someone who helped me push my bag, and I gave them the money, the 20,000 Tanzanian shillings. And then he helped me cross over. Then I used the money to take a border and call my wife. When we went to Tanzania, we went there as friends of Tundu Lissu and friends of Tanzanians. I'm an East African, I have an East African passport, and I'm allowed to travel freely within the region, because that's the deal we are. Like we're a regional bloc. I did not go to that country legally, and I did not commit a crime. And that's why they did not take me to any court. So I was able to come back to this country. But when I came back, and when I go to the airport here in Nairobi, I asked the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and which is the same thing that I'm asking today. I said I was going to the hospital, and I wanted my medical report to be public of what they did to us. And I'm going to share the medical report today, and it's going to be circulated. Because I'd like the world to know of the very heinous things they did to us, to break us. And they did that to silence us and put fear on us. And it's something that we learned, that most Tanzanian activists go through similar things. They arrest you, and they take you through sexual torture and tell you if you speak, you're going to humiliate you to your family and all that. And it's what they did to us is it breaks me. I'm not the same, but I know I'm gonna heal. And I wanted to share this because we have decided we should not be silenced, and I should let the world know what happened to us. Yeah, so my government let me down. My government sided with Suluhu's government and said we're interfering with Tanzanian politics. We were not interfering in Tanzanian politics. We went there as visitors, and we did not hide the reasons for our visit. I've been to Tanzania before to visit another political prisoner, Freeman Mbowe, who was Chadema's leader before Tundu Lissu. I was in Uganda when Bobi Wine was under house arrest. I went to Uganda when Stella Nyanzi was in jail, visited her in jail. I've done that in many other African countries because I'm an African. And I belong to this continent, and Africa is home. So
you will, through diplomatic channels, establish more details, because normally there are protocols.
Mkuu wa mawaziri Musalia Mudavadi amesema kwamba kisa cha BONIFACE Mwangi kukamatwa Tanzania kinatakiwa kuwa funzo kwa Wakenya kuheshimu sheria na kanuni za nchi za kigeni wanapokuwa huko kwa shughuli rasmi ama shughuli zao binafsi. Mudavadi amesema kwamba tukio hilo litayumbisha mahusiano ya kidiplomasia kati ya Kenya na Tanzania. Mudavadi aidha ameongeza kwamba kutakuwa na mazungumzo kati ya nchi hizo mbili zinazohusika kutokana na tukio hilo.
We will, through diplomatic channels, establish more details, because normally there are protocols that should be followed if certain matters were to be handled, and maybe in terms of whether they were going to observe court proceedings and so forth. So there are protocols, and that is a matter that now we'll pursue through diplomatic channels. But most important as well is that we have very cordial relations with Tanzania and the other East African countries. You will recall that Tanzania and Uganda and Kenya are the founding members of the East African community. And over the years, our two nations have worked very, very closely together. And we intend to continue nurturing and fostering good relations between us and Tanzania specifically, and also.
Well, the moment Tanzanians decide that they can torture and sodomize Kenyans, our relationship has deteriorated. I don't know what Mudavadi is saying here. Our relationships with them, they have deteriorated to the levels of Fahrenheit 9/11. What is he talking about here? Ni kama hajielewi. Ni kama hajielewi kabisa. God. Stop voting people like this. People who will feed you to the wolves.
Other countries within the East African community and beyond.
This is not the tone of somebody who loves Kenyans. Hii siyo tone kabisa kabisa. Let me tell you, if this was Ibrahim Traore we are talking about, General Traore, and if that happened to somebody from Burkina Faso, hey, kingekuwa kibaya saa hizi. Tanzania saa hizi, they would have apologized. If this was happened to somebody from Burkina Faso, hoi, this would not go. He would have made it known. You heard how he talked to the new Pope, how he checked him, and he told him not to be a hypocrite because Africans are done with being with hypocrites. That's hata sijui how this would have gone. Yani hata government ya Kenya haijafanya anything that haijasema anything. Being silent is being complicit. This is a man who has a job, has a family. He's just doing his job. If anyone from Europe can come and go to Tanzania to a public hearing, akae chini, and nothing happens to them, and unasema tuko kwa jumuiya ya East Africa, and a Kenyan cannot do that without fear that Suluhu will order sodomy, like she orders, I don't know, those ugly sunglasses she wears. She's worse than Idi Amin. Hata sijawahi ona mwanamke kama huyo. Healing is not an easy. You know, I work with coaches, I work with people who've been in trauma. Healing from trauma is not easy. And for you as a president to go dishing out trauma to people just like that, guy, what level of wickedness is this? Ni maombi gani sasa tutaomba? Because he you know, yani to just willingly torture people. And they probably, if watu hawange make any noise, they probably would have killed them. The truth is, these governments, they are destroying the mental health of Africans. They are destroying our mental health because they don't uphold our values. So if you're abused at home, it's kind of like if you come from an abusive family. You know, if you come from an abusive country, where can you go in the world? Where else can you go in the world that people will respect you? No wonder people don't respect Africans all over the world. Because our governments are the first ones to disrespect us and to take away our humanity from us. Unaamka, you're depressed, you don't know why. It's because you're ruled by a psychopath. Elect good leaders who love your country, who have respect for your children, who have respect for you. Mi siwezi sema anything as a mental health advocate, as a
Awesome. This is Jeremy Dam.
sorry, as a mental health coach, as a mental health advocate. That's all I can say. That's all I can say at this time. It's heartbreaking. It's unreal. It's unbelievable. It's disgusting. It's disturbing. On so many levels, this is an act that I'm so happy that they did not, hawakuficha. I'm so glad they came out and told the world the truth. Because one of the worst things that you can do after you've been tortured is to hide. To hide at Indivo, you allow the abuser, the narcissist, to go on with their life, because that's what has been happening to Tanzanians. They don't speak up because, you know, what are you going to do? They've already raped you. They don't say anything. So the government keeps doing this over and over and over. And that's what abusers do. The abusers, they want you to remain silent and in fear. That way you never ever heal. But when you talk, you start healing. You start healing. When you expose the abuse and the abuser, we start seeing what they are and who they are. Now hawezi jificha. Hawezi jificha. She's an abusive person. She's a psychopath. She orders people, now we know, she orders people to be sodomized, and she orders videos. And when people are being tortured, anataka waseme Asante Suluhu, Asante Samia, that's what she wants to see. Worse than Idi Amin. Hata than Hitler. Did Hitler even ever do that? Order people to be sodomized and then tell them to say Asante Hitler. You're dealing with another level of demonic and spiritual wickedness in high places. When the Bible tells you, you do not wrestle with flesh and blood. You wrestle with principalities and spiritual wickedness in high places. This is what God tells you. And God tells you in the book of Proverbs, a good leader is known because they promote peace. A wicked leader promotes chaos. You have your vote, is your only voice. If they don't steal your vote, please vote for people who uphold the dignity of the Black African. People who love to see an African man and an African woman living in peace. Please, tufanyie tu just one favor. Because if you don't, my friend, we are cooked. We screwed Generation Z. Let's not screw Generation Alpha. Let's give them good leaders. Kama Ibrahim Traore. Let's just give them that. Ata kama we don't give them good education. Ata kama we don't give them good food on the table. Ata kama we don't give them the best education. Let's just vote for leaders who will uphold their dignity. That's all I ask you. Thanks again for tuning in to Post-Traumatic Bliss. Again, my name is Kanini, and until next time, may God bless you.